Hi there. I have no fancy slides or anything, so excuse me. I'm Sara Davis. It's not actually been a year, believe it or not. It's still younger than that. Okay, what to expect in your first year. I'm a mother of 4 boys, ranging from the ages of 14 down to 8. And I have been really happily married to my lovely husband Dave for the last 17 years. I myself only came to know the Lord about coming on 6 years now. And up until recently, I've been the only member of my family living with the Lord. I was actually raised not far from here, in the world, taught that a good school education, college degree, high-paying, respectable job, and marrying well were what were important to life. And that was a success to a happy life. And I tried really hard to fit in and jump through all the hoops. It was actually 15 years ago or nearly 15 years ago now, when we had our first son, that I realised that career, jobs, all of that didn't matter anymore. All I wanted to do was stay at home and look after my child. But that wasn't happening for a little while afterwards, for a long time afterwards. And then when it came to his schooling, at that stage I'd had 3 children, I found it so hard letting him go, and even my mother was turning around to me and saying, "Oh, would you just cut the umbilical cord? Just let him go. He's nearly 5 now. You can do this. And he's got to get his own life." And I just remember this felt so wrong. Yeah, it just felt so wrong. But it's all I knew. And I definitely didn't feel equipped to even considering the word homeschooling. So it was a battle, I do have to say, from one thing to another for the next 8 years of his primary school life. It was a battle. From years to forcing him to conform, from homework from day one. He came home when he started getting his homework at the age of 5, saying, "But why do I have to do extra work when I came home? And no, Daddy doesn't, nobody else does, why do I?" And then actually when he got into first class and he had to start Irish, he goes, "Well, I don't want to learn this language, so why do I have to do it?" And I kept just trying to squeeze this poor little child as a round peg into a square box into a round hole. But then came, okay, he had to conform. And we went on with the battles of attitude and the things I was learning in the classroom. Eventually what happened was my beautiful, happy, loving, giving child came back, turned out to be more aggressive, angry, and a back-chatting. And yeah, I have a little monster down here, and I don't think he'll be too happy if I say. And he wasn't, but we went through a really hard time from the age of 9. I would say my life with him started hard by the time he was 8.5, 9. And I didn't know why. It was then I could actually see different changes going on in my other children, as I started them through the same process and the same system of sorrow. But it was also through these years that I found Christ. And I actually feel my whole life changed. As I was finding Christ, though, I found it extremely hard bringing them up in the new ways that I was finding. I found that having my kids in school 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, with an added extra 40 to 50 minutes of homework every day, then trying to cram in dinner and then sports afterwards. There was no time left, with them bed. They were still 8 down. So there was no time left to teach them the Lord's word, which I realised it started to become more and more and more important than what was taught in the schools. But I didn't even think of curriculum or what was being taught curriculum-wise. I just wanted them to know the Lord's word. So the decision came actually when Ruth took Josh out. That's when the word started bouncing around in my life. But I thought I could never do this. There was no way I could do this. Absolutely not. And sadly, at the moment, my husband is still a non-believer. I'm still not married to a believer. Thankfully, 2 of my children have given their lives to the Lord since October. But last September, I started them back in school. I put them back into the regime. It broke me. But I felt That's where my prayers had been led. I hadn't been led, as I had been told many times, that if the Lord's not in it, then it's not something that he has planned for me to do. And at the time, that's what I felt. But for me, I now understand. My boys started school in September. We put them back into the uniforms. We put them back into the school routine. And it became very apparent that's not where they were supposed to be. But I think for me and my decision, that's where the Lord needed me to really know that what I was doing was his calling and not my own selfish motherly need. So we took the choice that it happened at Halloween, when they broke up for their Halloween break last October. We then did not return our 3 younger children to school, to primary school level, then aged 11, 10 and 8. We've kept our eldest son in secondary school, and he is currently just finished second year. Initially, I thought I would be able to bring their school books home and we'd just be able to do it around the table, and this would be great, and we could carry on and I could add in the Lord's Word and prayer time in the morning. But that was not going to be the case. Their books are all workbooks, and I had no teacher's aid, which I desperately realised I needed. So that's when all the fear stepped in. Fear, complete fear, took over. Fear of, oh my golly, what have I just done? Fear of, oh my golly, I've now got to find curriculum. Fear of just, I can't do this. I just can't do this. You're going against the whole social, the grain of society. Family and everything just started coming in against me. But I have to say, I've remembered then, I have to remember why, and I think that's why my boys had to go back for 6 weeks. I have to remember that time was not a happy time either. Mm-hmm. This is just a new experience. The only person voice I need to be asking advice from and listening to is God. And so when I do fall down and start ringing people, I am reminded very carefully or very quickly that it's the Lord's will, not mine. As I've just said, and as I was told last year from very dear friends, that I have to seek the Lord's will on everything, and that if he was not behind this, then it would not work. And so that is my advice to anybody who's starting out. It has to be, you have to have the Lord behind you in all of this. The pitfalls I've labelled this part. Don't get bogged down. Don't do what I did and get bogged down in what the schools are doing and trying to keep up with the classroom activities. You need to work at your own child's pace and not society's. Start with the basics and do what you both like together. Finding a curriculum that suits both you and your child is really, really hard when you've taken them out at my ages. Don't forget, I took them out at an age 11, so I had 5th class and 4th class and 2nd class. All of a sudden, all looking for my attention around the same table. And being used to being told to pick up the red pen, now pick up the blue pen, then stand up, sit down. And I found it extremely hard to manage all of that. And one thing I noticed is that what works for one child doesn't necessarily work for all the other two. If you're a young family starting out, and as I can see a lot of you here have a lot of young children, enjoy them. Just enjoy them. Read with them, bake with them. Maths comes in so many different shapes and forms, from threading beads to counting money to measuring ingredients. Don't worry about curriculum when they're so young. That comes, I've realised myself now, that all comes as you get to know your child more and more. If you're like me and you've decided to take them out of the school system that they're so used to, be prepared. They especially are going to find it extremely hard. I was so excited. I was so excited that I was going to have my babies home with me. But really, it's not about that. It's all about finding a new balance. They have been, like you, I was used to my morning together. They were used to their day being completely different. It's going to get upside down. Your whole life gets turned upside down. They may even rebel and tell you that they want to be back with their friends or that you've ruined their lives. Don't take it personally. Just It's a way of them trying to find their pace and place in where their life is about to go. And so I was told so many times by Ruth and so many others, it's called deschooling. I figured that one out now. I never really gave my boys or I the chance to deschool. I never did. I brought them back, the whole system, to my kitchen table. We sat there for between 9 and half 9 every morning. And all the daily stresses came with it too. Timetables and structure. They wanted to play Lego and play football. I was sitting down, no, it's now English, it's now maths, it's now... Going backwards now, I would say, let them play Lego, let them play football. And through that time, you find your feet in finding resources for them. And so, yes, while they're playing, doing all of that, you find your resources. I spent too many nights locked away in front of a computer, sourcing and resourcing a curriculum. This was extremely hard on my family, all of them, and my husband especially. I was constantly shattered and had no time for anybody after that. I should have just stayed with the basics. English, maths and curriculum, biblical curriculum. Just spending time in the Word with them, praying with them, and English and maths. Reading the basics. Pick one topic at a time. I took 5. That was small for me. There's so much free stuff online, as Ruth was saying, so much free. Just play around with it and see what works for your child and what works for you. As Ruth has already spoken, make contacts. I was really, really lucky and really blessed. Look for all the homeschooling families around you. I was so blessed. One had started up, somebody really special had started up a group around the time that I had left. And I went to that first one, and I don't think we've missed one since. But outside of that, field trips, make contacts, go for nature walks with other families, get out of the house, because your kids are used to not being out in the house 24 hours 7 days a week. Support and encouragement comes from other homeschooling families, and as I said, it's extremely important, especially if you're prioritising teaching the Lord and outside of world's society, the society of the world. Because you find, as Ruth has said, you get doubts. You get doubts, why are you doing this? You have your bad days. And when you have your bad days, if you've got another Christian family that's teaching and bringing their kids up in the way of the Word, then you have somebody to be encouraged and to encourage back on their days. Most importantly, mums, prioritise your daily reading time with the Lord. I fall down on this all the time. And every time I don't do it, things go wrong. I start doubting myself, I start doubting what I've done, and I start doubting God's plan for my family. When I am walking with the Lord, and I am in fellowship, I see it so much clearer, and the days obviously go so much easier. God's strength and guidance is what is going to keep you encouraged, focused, and grounded on His path that He has planned for you and your family. Today, I'm a little bit more confident in myself and with the way my family is going. I do have to keep reminding myself, though, that I am raising my boys in God's word and truth, and that is much more important than straight A's or 600 points in their leaving. If God wants my boys to be doctors, lawyers, whatever it is, He's going to be the one to provide them with that knowledge, not me. My role as a parent is to teach them in the way of the Word, so that when they are older, they may not depart from it. Because one day they do have to leave us. But as I keep coming back to, Moses was raised by his mother for his beginning years. Then he went in to Pharaoh's castle to be led and taught by the world. But it was what she gave him in those first few years that brought him back into the Lord's plan. And He brought everybody out into Egypt. So this has been my prayer for all the men in my family. I have 5 of them in total. And Everything else after that comes secondary. Thank you.